Hello my dear students, in today's lesson we're going to talk about different methods of teaching English language. So let's start our lesson. Methods. In the definitions of this term, Webster's Third New International Dictionary often uses expressions such as a procedure or process for attaining a goal or systematic procedure, technique or set of rules, very often related to a science or art. Hankins claims that methods have definite steps or stages and they sub behaviors that are current and applicable to various subject matters. For our purposes, we can consider the methods to be well staged procedure to teach new language. Dealing with communicative approach, teachers should bear in mind that it is not only dialogues and monologues which makes pupils and the students speak, but also a variety of interactive methods, sometimes even created and organized by the teacher. In the classroom, number one, the most effective, tried and tested methods are brainstorming and debates. Brainstorming ideas, opinion, creativity, extraordinary preparation and the presentation. Debate, let's debate, get rid of doubts, erudition, critical opinion and remarks, personal beliefs and listening. This methods helps learn to inspire the imagination, be creative and knowledgeable, playing different roles. Being engaged in these methods, pupils and students can learn how to express informed opinion, talk for purpose and for fun, listen, train pronunciation. Suggestopedia. Accelerated language learning. Suggestopedia is a set of learning recommendations used to optimize learning. In theory of language and learning, Suggestopedia is a teaching and learning methods by which language is learned as a material based on suggestion. So the main objective of this foreign language teaching method is to deliver advanced conversational proficiency quickly. Suggestopedia lessons using Suggestopedia as a foreign teaching method involves translating texts into the learner's native language, explaining grammar structures explicitly, practicing in animative way through role plays. So let's continue, my dear students. How to structure Suggestopedia course. The course lasts 30 days and consists of 10 units of study. These are presented in classes held 4 hours a day, 6 days in a week. Each unit is focused on a dialogue consisting of 1,200 words. The dialogues and graded by lexis and the grammar. So, unit study is organized around 3 days. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Duration half a day, duration full day, and the duration half a day. So you can see this chart of the methods and the focus and her characteristics. The first method is a grammar translation. Focus on the written literary texts, and the characteristics will be translated from English into your native language. Direct methods, also called natural methods, focus on everyday spoken language, and the characteristics will be student learns by associating meaning directly in English. Audiolingual methods. So sentence and the sound patterns, listening and the speaking drills and the pattern practice only in the English. Cognitive code approach, grammar rules, English grammar rules deduced and then understood in context. So communicative approach. The communicative approach of the communicative language teaching, CLT, emphasizes the importance of language functions rather than focus on grammar and vocabulary. The main principle of CLT is to train students to use language forms approximately a variety of contexts for a variety of purposes. The top 10 principles of CLT are communicative interaction, meaningful practice, active involvement, positive reinforcement of suitable materials, changes of pace and activity making the teaching process enjoyable, teaching English in English, realization that mistakes are natural and that even beginners can understand when taught in the target language. Activities in CLT involve students in real and realistic communication, where the accuracy of the language is less important than successful achievement of the communicative purpose. Therefore, such activities as role play and simulation are very popular in CLT. All activities in CLT have to be constructed in such a way that students should have a desire to communicate something. Key principles of CLT. The key principles of effective CLT that teachers have to take into consideration are as follows. Be aware of students' needs, develop learning documents. Be a facilitator rather than a controller. Motivate the students by verbal encouragement, praising, good mark, awards, body language, use, variety of activities, and encourage students' active involvement. Modes of interaction. Active involvement can be achieved by a variety of means such as varied modes of interaction. Changes of activity, changes of pace, changes of intensity, changes of mood, atmosphere, changes of beginnings and endings, balanced use of settlers and steers. So let's continue. My dear students, content and the language integrated learning. The term content and the language integrated learning CLIL was defined in 1994 and launched in 1996 by UNICEF, the University of Tübingen, and the European Platform for Dutch Education, to describe educational methods where subjects are taught through a foreign language with the dual focused aims, namely the learning of content and the simultaneous learning of a foreign language. CLIL can be interpreted as an umbrella term describing both learning content subjects such as physics or geography through the medium of foreign language, and the learning a foreign language by studying a content-based subject. In CLIL, content subjects are taught and learned in a language which is not the mother tongue of the learners. Knowledge of the language becomes the means of learning content. Language is integrated into the content-based subject teaching, and this increases motivation to study natural contextualized language. Therefore, CLIL provides a practical approach to both content and language learning that improves intercultural understanding. Advantages of the CLIL. The important advantage of CLIL is its potential for achieving bilingualism and improving intercultural understanding. Firstly, CLIL helps to broaden intercultural knowledge and understanding and develops intercultural communication skills. Secondly, CLIL improves target language competence and raises awareness of both mother tongue and the target language. Thirdly, CLIL provides opportunities to study content and learn subject-specific terminology, and hence prepare students for future studies and working life. Finally, CLIL offers new learning strategies while adding diversity and flexibility to existing methods and forms of classroom practice. Implementation of CLIL. The implementation of CLIL is based on four main principles. These are cognition, community, communication, and culture. The four guiding principles mean that the learner works with an interface in which cognition, the thinking skills, and the problem-solving approaches specific to that particular topic community. The development of the self-awareness of the learners with respect to the content, him or himself as the learner, and the purpose of learning in the wider environment beyond school, university, or the surrounding society. Communication, interaction with others, and the language remain specific to this topic. In the culture, how the learner engages with the language and the content and the discourse features required to both learn and communication are all interlinked. So, task-based methods. The idea of the task-based method, TBL, was popularized by Prabi, who, working in schools of South India, claimed that students were just as likely to learn language if they were thinking about the non-linguistic problems than if they were concentrating on particular language forms. Instead of language structure, students are presented with a task they have to perform or problem they have to solve. So, the LD-TBL analysis of the key principles of the task-based learning demonstrates the apparent similarity between the task-based learning and the communicative language teaching. A basic distinction between TBL and the CLT is that CLT is the philosophy or orientation, whereas TBL represents the body of principles and the procedures for making communicative language teaching work in the classroom. So, fundamental principles of TBT. The four fundamental principles underlying the task-based teaching are meaning is primary, grammar and a form are not ignored. The task is a complete unit and there is a systematic relationship between pedagogical tasks and the target real-world tasks. So, let's continue the advantages of TBL. The major criticism of TBL concerns its applicability to lower learning levels. However, there are many tasks that are suitable for beginners or young learners. Another point of criticism is about restrict patterns of language that are usually used in the task-based learning. Language patterns that are used in discussion, debate, or social interaction of other kind fail to be included in the task-based interaction. Nevertheless, tasks are widely used in language. So teaching either as the basic of language course or as one of its components. So, let's continue. What's TBR? Total Physical Response is a language teaching method built around the coordination of speech and action. It attempts to teach language through physical major activity. In TPR, instructors give commands to students in the target language, and the students respond with whole body actions. Total physical response is often used alongside other methods and techniques. It's popular with beginners and with young learners. Also, it can be used with students of all levels and all age. So, let's continue the characteristics of TPR. The characteristics of TPR is the coordination of speech and action. Learners' roles of listener and performer. Listen. Learners monitor and evaluate their own progress. Watch. Reading and writing is taught after grammar and vocabulary. Imitate. Grammar is taught in the activity. Grammar and vocabulary selected according to the situation. Learning language by gesture, body movements. The teacher and the students are the actors. Students should be more active and talkative. Applications of TPR. Reading. Basic principle of To be, TBR is the listening ability